The people who succeed, the people who will survive this crisis are the ones that simply acknowledge what's happening. You came here for the truth, so let me unveil that for you. The very first thing we've got to do is pay attention to what's right in front of our nose, but we choose to ignore it. We put our heads in the sand, and of course, we are blindsided by it when it comes. What am I talking about? Number one, with so much debt and the way that has been accumulating over the years is not to be ignored. It must be come front and center. We're being told, we're being sold a story that that debt is going to be wiped out by inflation. But let me tell you, you've got other problems to worry about. If you search or talk to the people who deal with high inflation, very high inflation, their world isn't so fantastical because the inflation took care of my problems. It doesn't work like that. It is chaos when it happens. Hyperinflation has existed two times before in the United States. When you look at it around the world, you can see there are many instances of it. Look at the facts. Argentina dealing with it right now. You've got other countries as well. They're not saying, hey, I'm all good because my student loans are gone. No, that is not the case. I'm going to talk to you about what's happening and how your life will be consolidated to less and less and less, and you will own nothing and be happy. You've heard that one before, and I'm going to show you today what you need to know, beginning with this. As many as 28% of Americans have nothing saved for their retirement, 39% aren't contributing to a retirement fund, and another 30% don't think that they'll ever be able to retire. Now, we have some big issues here because people don't save money. They don't have a rainy day fund. Part of that could be, you could argue it's just bad planning. People don't have the financial education. And that is the case for a lot of people. There's no question about that. But stuff is so expensive. Things, everyday things, are becoming so expensive to a level that people are saying, I can't have that. Or if I want to have it, I'm going to have to buy it on a credit card. I'm going to have to use buy now, pay later. And of course, we extend ourselves a little bit further. But there's a problem here. People are stretched to the maximum. Yes, there will be more and more in that sense because there's a new way to borrow coming. There's always something new, but that's going to really push people to where they simply hit that ceiling. There, of course, is a ceiling. Now, what we are finding is that the middle class, and then we go into the upper middle class, this group of people no longer has the disposable income that they used to. They're trying to keep up with the Kardashians. They're buying all the fancy cars. They're buying all the things that they were in the previous years, and they want to keep up with that lifestyle, but it's strangling them. How do I know this? Well, I can look at all the different forms of debt. All of them are up. I can look at the fact that people are tapping into their homes, their home equity, like an ATM. We are seeing that as well. And of course, a lot of people are simply maintaining a facade to appear that they are doing well, but for many, they are not. And I know this as a fact because I speak to the people, because I see the data as well, anecdotal evidence as well as the hard data coming through, and I see it time and time again. I am absolutely on fire right now because I need to get this through to you. We've only scratched the surface. Check this out. 2 years after the Federal Reserve began hiking interest rates to tame prices, delinquency rates on credit cards and auto loans are the highest in more than a decade. For the first time on record, interest payments on those and other non-mortgage debts are as big of a financial burden for U.S. households as mortgage interest payments. It's not the mortgages, everybody. You got to stop looking there. People are thinking, it's not the financial crisis. It's not the housing crisis. No, this is not the same scenario. People have other forms of debt that are a big concern. Auto loans, my goodness, have you seen the prices that people pay for their cars? It's incredible. And to see how far they stretch it out, it's not something you pay off in 2 or 3 years. Oh no, not even close. They're paying it off in 6 years, 7 years, 8 years. What's going on? Oh, why? Because they want that payment. Oh, I can afford whatever it is, $800 a month. So we just stretch that out. We just stretch it out. Oh, no worries, right? Of course, there is a worry, and people right now are dealing with these high borrowing costs, and that is effectively strangling them. And they are dealing with a big crisis that will fundamentally change their lives from now on. And this is not a problem for just the youngest of generations, who we'll talk about in a second, but it's for everybody. 47% of parents still financially support their adult children study funds. This is an issue, of course, not because, if the parents help out or what have you, that's okay. They can do whatever they want. People should be able to do whatever they want. Parents, children, they should make those decisions, and that's it. The problem here is that what we're finding is there's absolutely no way that a child coming out of university, college, or just coming out of, let's say, high school, there's no possible way that they can afford rent or afford a house. It's not possible. Okay. And so what do they have to do? Well, they can get a job. Well, what kind of jobs are they going to get? Well, they're going to get the absolute minimum. That minimum wage is still not enough to afford rent in most major cities, and that's actually getting worse. So even if they increase the minimum wage by $1, $2, $3, $4, whatever it is, it's still not going to be enough to afford the average rent in the average city. So we have a fundamental problem that cannot be overturned. So what are we going to do? We are going to see the things that we have in our lives, the basics. They are going to, the things that we're used to, we're going to see them slashed. We're going to see the level of care that we have being taken away. We are going to witness a drastic decline in our living standards. And I tell you this because if you're unwilling to listen, you are unprepared. And that is a very dangerous circumstance. Look at this. Gen Z and the end of work as we know it. This is brought to you by your friends at the World Economic Forum. Klaus Schwab wants you to know that you will own nothing and be happy. And what they basically say is Gen Z doesn't want to have a corporate job. Gen Z wants to do their own thing. I believe, though, that the circumstances we're in today, it's good if they don't want to be pushed around. Don't be a pushover. Hey, if the boss wants you to do this and that, and you say, you know what, I ain't having it, that's okay. But we got to realize something, that the very hardworking people are the ones who ultimately get what they want from life. Now, you could be that hardworking person and say no to certain things. That's good. It's okay to say no. That's a strong-willed person. But we've got to watch what we're doing and not just say, I'm going to wait for the world to, come to me. I'm going to wait to be recognized. That's not the way to do it, okay? You need to realize that there is a small group of people in control of the assets, in control of basically everything in our lives, and they are actively trying to make sure that you cannot ever get anywhere in your life. So watch out and prepare accordingly. This is the story. You're going to have to deal with this. Now, this is just one example. Co-living. What is that? Well, I'll just show you this if you haven't seen it before. For instance, okay, you could look at this Midtown luxury apartment near Times Square, okay? So if I click on that, it says from $2,400 a month. I'm going to click on that. I hope you can see this. And it's an apartment, right? But there's just one thing. So it says there's 5 bedrooms and 2 baths. But there's something else here. 5 residents. You see that? Oh, that's right. You'll be sharing a home with other people that you don't know. And that might be okay for some people, but understand something. You are paying $2,400, and that's sharing a bathroom. If you don't want that sharing a bathroom, one unit in this place was $3,500, and you get your own private bathroom. Wow, $3,500, and you get a private bathroom. You're sharing all the other services. Okay, so you got a bedroom, you got a bathroom. That's about it. Now, this tells us where we are heading. Now, this is New York, of course, extreme example, but that's going on in a lot of different places. Students are refusing to pay back their loans when payment pause ends. Of course, this was from last year. But the fact is that people have way too much debt and they simply cannot pay it back. That debt will burden them. There's no question about it. certain things you just can't walk away from. And that is becoming an issue for millions and millions of people. Some people, as they say here, prepping for disaster diversifies as more Americans lose trust. Different types of prepping, of course, but people are doing whatever they can to get around the circumstances that they are in. This is a problem that we have seen widespread. The issues of things being too expensive, rent, wages not keeping up, inflation being an issue. That's in Canada, US, like pretty much everywhere. Okay, name a spot, it's a problem. Okay, there are areas that are, better than others and what have you, but this is the thing that's not going to be overturned. Your living standards are declining. From 2020 up until now, they have declined, right? This is broadly I'm speaking, but for the most part, people have seen living standards decline, and they're not going to get better. There's not this magical, you're being sold this BS by some of these YouTubers out there that are telling you just wait for the right moment because everything's going to come down. It's going to crash by 80%. You're going to go in there because I'm going to tell you because you bought my course that, you're going to come in at that perfect moment. Everything's going to be, by the way, everything's going to be totally fine for you. You just need to hit the switch at the right moment. They're selling the dream, telling you that you're going to do okay. No, the conditions will get worse year after year after year unless something magical, unless a miracle occurs. And I'm not holding my breath. So what I'm telling everybody to do is get wise to the circumstances, okay? Try to do what they can to put money aside for that rainy day because we know it's coming. Pay down any bad debt that you have. At the same time, we need to start preparing in every way we possibly can. I told people in 2020, lock in your energy prices if you can. The people that did that reported back to me at a later date and saying, you literally allowed me to, your advice allowed me to make it through that winter because I was able to lock it through, or else I would have been screwed over. I love those comments and I love hearing from you. There are so many things that you can do. I've got a whole playlist, how to and solutions, but you want to get to me directly, 2 hours, 2 hours every single Friday and 2 hours every single Sunday live. If you want to be one of those, the growing group of people on my sessions that I have, I would ask you to click that link down in the description and get a hold of me directly. As always, hit that thumbs up button to support the channel. When you do that, you signal to the algorithms. This guy's got some good stuff. And of course, see you tomorrow. Take care.